Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Procrastinator's Pitstop, your source for inspiration and motivation for keeping on moving forward. Today, we have another amazing guest for you. We have Sharese Gueret, and she is a mindset coach with a very unique background. Starting her career as a Red Seal electrician, Sharese spent years mastering the complexities of electrical systems. However, a passion for personal growth and empowerment sparked a significant career change, leading her to focus on helping others rewire their thinking and unlock their full potential. Theresa's journey into mindset coaching was driven by her deep desire to empower individuals to overcome mental barriers and embrace their fullest potential. Get ready to be inspired by her transformative approach. Sharese, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a
Oh,
great introduction.
it's no trouble at all. I'm sure that you deserve it. We're going to dive into it in just a moment. We do like to have a little bit of an icebreaker on the show, and your question is, which cartoon character do you most identify with and why?
I'd say Wonder Woman because she's strong and powerful, and she's smart.
I like that. I like that example. That
Like,
example. So before we get too far into the show here, why don't we go into a little bit of your background, Sharice, and your journey and sort of how you got to be where you are today?
I'm a Red Seal electrician by trade, and I felt like I wasn't fulfilled with my job. And then one day, I should say a whole week, I spent time working alone, and I kept thinking that I wanted to do something more. Then I thought about life coaching. And then I did some research and then I went straight into it. And then it all snowballed from there. And I felt like when I did it, it felt way more fulfilling and it brought me joy guiding people and knowing they could get through barriers and just seeing them happy made me feel better and they felt better. So it was like a win-win. And electrical didn't really do that for me. So that it was time to shift careers.
And I can understand that, and I like the way that you look at that. It's a win-win. And so you are a mindset coach. So what specifically do you focus on with your clients?
Like mostly like mental health type of stuff, to be like empowerment to change the way a person thinks, to be like more positive. And a big thing would be like for me would be journaling and meditation is what I feel strong about because it helps me with my mental health is something I've dealt with my whole year and well, my whole life, I should say. And journaling and meditation and changing the way you think makes a huge difference. And like it feels like everything changes in a positive way. Knowing you could break through barriers is a pretty big thing and it makes you feel good about yourself and you start building more confidence and it's a good feeling and I want other people to experience that as well.
Yeah, that is something that we tend to forget is that one of the ways that we can really connect back with ourselves and to be more fulfilled is by helping others to also be fulfilled. So I like that. And along the way, I'm sure that as in any major transition, that there were always kind of hurdles to overcome. What do you think was the biggest challenge for you in transitioning careers?
Um, well, this was all new to me and just like learning like all the steps into like coaching people. And just the hardest thing for me was probably putting myself out there was the hardest thing because I never really put myself out there. And then another thing I told myself when I switched careers was I was going to put myself out there just to do something I wasn't comfortable with. And then I did my first like coaching session and it went way better than I thought. And you get all nervous and all for nothing, because people normally make all these scenarios in your head, which they're usually never true, but you tend to believe that. And it gets easier as you go. I mean, with anything, you got to start somewhere. And it's a good experience too. I met a lot of great people and I get to speak with you. So that was a major thing when I said to be on your podcast. It was actually funny because 30 seconds later, I'm like, what did I do? What did I do? But I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we all need to push the envelope and get out of our comfort zones because it's the only way we can grow.
Yeah, that's another reason why I did it, just to grow more and be more fulfilled.
Yes, you mentioned that, but I mean, being a Red Seal electrician, I mean, that is something that is, that in its own right, that is something that is I'd say it's fairly difficult to master. And the fact that you mastered that, that's really impressive. And now you can go out and you can not only light up, those real light bulbs, you can actually get your clients to have those, aha moment, they're little light bulbs that go on inside too.
Yeah, I love how you explained that. Yeah, it's like they go hand in hand.
And how do you work with somebody when they come to you in order to help build their confidence? What are sort of the first steps?
First, we discuss like what they want to work on. I'll give an example. Let's say they want to build some self-confidence. And we'll find ways that they could do that, like make small baby steps. And then once they do that, then and get through those roadblocks, and their confidence slowly becomes better. And then they should be proud that they did that because normally they wouldn't have done it. And then it just makes them feel better. Then they'll keep going and keep doing more. It's like every little step like counts towards a big step. Like, got to celebrate the small wins because those small wins get you to the big win.
Very true. Do you find that there's one particular area? I mean, we all have self-confidence issues at one time or another. Anyone who says they don't is a liar.
Yeah.
I'll say that right now. They're a liar.
No, no, I've been there too.
So do you find there's one area where kind of as a society, just with all the pressures that we all sort of have issues with self-confidence in?
I think because the world is such like a busy place that people don't like actually slow down and like take time for themselves. It's like and people are addicted to social media, and like they're getting like bad, like there's good on social media, but there's also not good, and just people comparing themselves to other people. But a lot of stuff on social media isn't real, and it does stuff to people's mental health. And when you get in that dark hole, it's like it's very hard to get out of it. But then once you change your mindset, then you could slowly get out of it and live a happier life.
Yeah, I'm glad that you touched on social media. I mean, that is definitely a big one. The whole self-confidence thing. I know that sometimes when someone can roll through social media, especially the what is it? It's called the rich kids of Instagram, where they
Yeah,
they post their
yeah.
$500 bottles of Dom Perrier water or whatever it is. It deflates. But what do you say to those people when they feel like someone else has accomplished so much and they haven't accomplished much? I mean, their own what is it about those other accomplishments that diminishes theirs, do you think, in their mind?
I think a lot of it is comparison, and you don't actually know what that person's life is like. Like, it looks like they're happy on social media, but behind closed doors, they could be severely depressed. Like, you don't know, like, you don't know anyone's story. And I think a lot of it also has to do with some people's egos. It's like people need to worry about themselves more and like love themselves more instead of like comparing stuff on the internet that's you don't know anything about.
So it could be that we are replacing our own insecurities and self-confidence with more posturing and sort of ego boosting by
Yeah,
trying to outdo ourselves on social media.
yeah. It seems like everyone's trying to outdo the next person. And you don't know what that person actually looks like because there's so many filters and like everything out there. It's like you don't even know what's real. Like, it's It's like just focus. People just need to focus on themselves and make your life better.
It's that's very true, and it's especially true for kids that are growing up today too. Um, because they're so inundated with social media that it's a big part of their life. I mean, myself, in dating myself, I grew up mostly without social media, so I really don't care. but
Yeah,
uh, but kids now, I mean, and it's that ingrained sort of need for validation. And do you think that social media kind of creates that vacuum of needing more validation the more that we get on social media?
definitely for sure. Yeah, yeah, no, I agree with that. Lots of people want that, and they go to social media to get it because another thing I find is a problem nowadays is there's like a lack of like community. Like people don't socialize as much, and when you don't talk about your feelings and stuff, it just builds up inside, and then you just get trapped. You get trapped in that place, and they need guidance to like get out of that and like knowing that they could do better. They just have to get through those roadblocks.
You brought up an interesting point there. Communication versus whatever we're doing on social media. I mean, we can argue that we're communicating, but I mean, it's all very superficial stuff. So when you're saying communicating, you're meaning on like a deeper.
Yes, like having an actual like physical conversation with someone is for me is more meaningful than a person just texting or like writing something because you don't know if they're actually writing it or if it's AI, like you don't know. It's like it's more feels more like heartfelt when you have an actual communication with someone. And then usually when you talk to someone about those feelings, you do usually feel better about it because you don't have that weight like lifted on you anymore. It's like it's kind of like a stress relief.
So in your program, I mean, I know that there's no real like silver bullet for everything, but
No, there isn't.
if someone comes to you and says, I'm having a little bit of a, maybe imposter syndrome, or I'm lacking a little bit of self-confidence, what's one small step that they could take today to kind of get on the right?
For me is journaling, like writing down my thoughts, and then try to figure out a way that you could. This okay, just give me a second. Um, I would say write down your thoughts and like just take time to like even quick meditation, like 2, 3 minutes. Like sometimes I do that and just like take a deep breath and just say like you could do this, you could do this, like, and then once you do it, then you could keep going and just celebrate that small win. Some people think like small wins are nothing, but I think there's something. Yeah, I'd say keep track of all your wins and like look at back at the things you've accomplished.
Yeah, I like that. So journaling your wins every day, and just to reiterate too, I mean, I like to go into actually as a cartoon, I know it's going to be probably laughed at, but I like to go back to SpongeBob.
I love
Um,
SpongeBob.
that's he's got such a great message inside that show. If you can get past the silliness. I mean, you mentioned those small wins. I mean, he's perfectly happy being a fry cook. I mean, he goes in every day, and he tries to be the best at being a fry cook, but he's okay with that. It's not that he's not trying to improve or grow. It's that he's okay with where he is and he's happy with where he is. So, it is true that we shouldn't diminish any sort of small win because, for somebody, a small win might be getting a promotion at work, and for somebody else, a small win might be, just heh, getting the fence painted that they promised their, spouse that they would paint, 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. It's like you just got to convince yourself that you could do it. We've all been in those like situations, having that like a tough conversation with someone. Like you just got to do it, and you just feel so much. relief, like just lifted off you.
And if you find yourself kind of not able to move forward in terms of building that confidence, we've talked about journaling and talked about just reminding yourself about the small wins. Is there anything else that you would recommend adding to that as sort of like a daily practice?
I would say meditating as soon as you wake up. Just start with 2 to 3 minutes. Always have try to have a positive mindset. And every day, at the end of the day, I always try to find 10, not 10, 5 like positive things that you're grateful for. There's always something good in the world, like every day. But if you just focus on the bad, that's all you're going to see. But there's always good in everything. And just be kind to people.
So, find 10 positive things every day and just be kind to people. Okay, I like that. I think that's something I can get behind. The meditation, I would recommend not doing it in your bed. I've fallen asleep quite a few times and missed my second
Yeah,
doing that.
yeah, yeah. No, I've done that before. But I try to do it as soon as I wake up and not check your phone is another thing, which is very hard. Like, that's a very hard habit to break. I like wait at least like half an hour because then as soon as you check it, you're like, you have all this information overload and your brain is like trying to process all this. And it's like stuff you shouldn't even be processing.
So, have you noticed a difference, like a marked difference when you say meditate or do affirmations or do journaling or whatever it is you want to do? First thing in the morning, if you don't pick up that phone for say 30 minutes, and when you actually get to that phone, you feel a little bit less overwhelmed than you would if you'd just gone straight from waking up to go there.
But yeah, I do way less. So I feel like your mind is like, you have a time and it feels like it's at a like a calmer state. I find like when you go on your phone, you feel more like anxious and like just really anxious all the time, and that need to like always check it.
And what are usually people checking on their phone? I mean, is it more work? Is it more about the validation? Is it more about the social?
I'd say validation and social too, just to people like seeing what other people do for a living. But meanwhile, you should be concentrating on what you're doing to make yourself grow and be better. Like, it shouldn't matter what other people are doing. It should only matter what you're doing.
And yeah, just getting back to that and the plans and all these successes that you've had. What would you say would be one of your most defining successful moments?
Um, like in general, like past, future, like it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, in general, yeah.
Definitely getting my red seal was a huge moment for me. Like, it was very hard. And making that switching careers was that was another one. And then when you go through the steps of like coaching your schooling and like starting your own business, like those are accomplishments for me. Like, that's pretty huge. And doing this and putting myself out there, because I told myself that that's what I would do, even though like I'm scared the first time I'm doing it, but I'm enjoying this. Yeah, I'd say putting myself out there is probably a big one.
Okay. And in your process as on your journey, what do you think that you've learned about yourself?
I've learned a lot about myself, just the way like my process of thinking is a lot different. And journaling a lot of my thoughts helps a lot just to get that out. And just like looking at life different, like having like a more like positive like mindset. Like, I've been in like really dark places and it's like hard to get out, and I haven't been there for like a long time. And just life just feels better and you feel more happy. And when you're like kind to other people or you see someone struggling and you help them out, like just making someone's day better brings me joy. And then I feel like more doors have opened since my mindset has changed. It's like some amazing things have happened since I started this coaching journey. And that Like, and look where I am now. Like, I never would have thought that a year ago.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say that, and I mean, there's plenty of books and there's plenty of research and things about the law of attraction. You said that even in a year, a lot can change so much. Where would you see yourself on your journey a year from now? What are your plans, aspirations, goals, and where do you see yourself?
A year from now, um, I'd be hoping to, well, I could work anywhere in the world. So I would see myself traveling around the world, coaching and like helping other women, just learning about like different nationalities, learning about different people's cultures, and just want to spread like how your mindset could change a lot of things, like could achieve like great things. And you'll feel like so good about yourself when once you do that. And then more things it'll just snowball effect. It'll keep getting better. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's baby steps. Going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. Just got to fight through them. Every day's a new day.
That is absolutely correct. And I saw something recent, not recently, but I remember that people used to say, a bad minute doesn't make a bad hour, a bad hour doesn't make a bad day doesn't make a bad, week, a bad week doesn't make a bad month doesn't make a bad year, and so on and so forth. Would you say that's a good sort of analogy to it?
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I like that. Yeah, if it's say you have a bad hour, just go out for a walk, just walk around the block. Take like just meditate for like 2, 3 minutes and just reset. Sometimes that's all you need to do. And just whatever it's a bad day, then the next day's a new day. You get a fresh start and just learn from your mistakes.
So
And
yeah.
I'd say don't be hard on yourself.
It is true that we are super hard on ourselves when when we quote unquote fail. I wish I'd come up with this. I didn't. I actually heard it from a client who had their daughter in a acting school, and the acronym for fail, FAIL, is just the first attempt in learning.
That I like that. That's good.
Yeah, I'm super mad I didn't come up with it.
Yeah. Yeah. They should use that a lot more. Well, that's a good way of yeah, because I used to actually be hard when I failed at something. I'd be so hard on myself. It's like you just got to keep trying.
That's right. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again, right?
Yeah, yeah. Everyone's gonna fail at some time. We're human. Like it's nobody's perfect.
That is very true. So, well, it's also said that, the master has failed more than the beginner has even tried. So, we don't, and again, it goes back to what you said about social media. We're seeing these pictures of, big houses or cars or whatever, and we don't know how they got there. I mean, it could be anything from, they won the lottery to, they created and failed, 10 different businesses before they finally, got a foothold or, any other number of things, right? But more often than not, it's that they've, failed and they've just gotten back up and persevered.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Some people just compare themselves and they don't try to get better or try to grow. Then you're kind of stuck in that place, and it's the same thing over and over and over. It's like a vicious cycle.
And hmm, what would you tell somebody? All these activities are great. What do you tell somebody if they come to you and they say, I'm having a hard time finding something positive to, be grateful for. What way would you lead them?
Um, I'd get them to really look at their day and like just look around. Like there'd be something positive. Something positive is going to happen. Like no matter what, just keep looking for it because it's there. You just got to focus on the positive and just be just be grateful for something too. Like there's so much to be grateful for. It's like you could have tons of stuff and then it doesn't mean you're going to be happy. It's like you have to be, your mind has to be happy. Things don't make you happy. They do for the whatever the hour you have it, then after that it's just another thing.
Very true. That we all try to make ourselves complete externally, and we totally ignore the internal. But I mean, that's just the way that society has made us. But we need to really fight against that, and look more inward than outward for our fulfillment.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, we're going to be wrapping up here in a moment. But before we go, Therese, what is the best way for our listeners to get in touch with you?
I have my website, in empowerthemindsetcoaching.com. You could take a look. Um, could answer emails. If you have any questions or if you want to call and talk things over to see what this coaching's all about, you could do that too. I offer free calls to, first call is always free. Door's always open. I'm happy to help. I mean, I'd love to help people. I want more people to be more fulfilled and happy and grateful so they could spread it onto other people.
The ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Sharese, so much for being on the show today, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Once again, for your source of inspiration and motivation. And if you can't find that inspiration or motivation today, then just maybe be that inspiration or motivation for someone else. And we will see you again next.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for having